There is a crazy storm is going on outside right now, and I couldn't help myself create another video. Have you ever felt like you are so hungry that you can't even choose any flavor? Whatever you find, you just want to eat it. You just want to stuff your stomach with it because you are too hungry. That's how I feel when I am looking for some new information in life. My whole life, I always look for learning new things and always improving myself, educating myself in terms of getting better for everyone, not only for myself. The hunger that I feel every single day for an information, for education, for improvement is so severe. Some days I feel like I am not enough. Some days it gives me such depression, anxiety, such stress, and it never lets me relax. Some days I have this weight on my shoulder just pressing me down and never letting me go out of my bed, go out of my room, because I feel like I haven't done enough and I wasn't even productive that day. Have you ever felt like that? I don't know if you ever heard of this book. It's 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think. This book is not even remotely emotional, but every time when I finish a chapter, I feel like crying. It makes me feel so emotional. It's like a punch in my stomach, you know. It's so gut-wrenching. It makes me think of so deep stuff that I haven't even thought for years. Sometimes you need reminders like this book. And just so you know, I highly recommend it. It's a life-changing experience. Reading this is a slap on your face. And as someone who loves, adores, admires creating and producing more and more for the society, for herself, for people who she loves, I often feel so depressed. I often feel I'm not enough, and I often feel I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do in this life. And these feelings always stay with you. They never leave you alone. They are always behind your head. There is this voice telling you that you're not enough, you're not doing enough, you could be better, you could do better, you can produce more, you can be more creative, you can learn more. It's just that voice never stops, and there is no way of getting rid of that voice. Because you know why? That voice is also what drives you. It's also what is your pusher. It's hard to expect that you are creative when you're trying to create more, trying to produce more for, let's say, for the environment, for the society, for yourself, for somebody specific. Sometimes if you think that you're not doing enough, that makes you think you're not creative. What we don't understand is that there is no relation between not being enough and being creative. So feeling lost, being depressed for creative people, even though they do not accept that they are creative, there is a reason for that. Because we are in a world where we consume excessive amount of information every single day on social media, outside, at work, sometimes even at home when we are communicating with our family. There are so many information that we consume in daily basis. Sometimes at the end of the day, we physically feel our brain falling apart. If you think about it, it is so exhausting to live in this society where you have to consume this amount of information. It's like you're eating a lot. I know this analogy sounds really disgusting, but just hear me out. It's like you're eating a lot. You're eating everything you can. You're eating delicious food. You're eating mediocre food. You want to try every single taste on the table. You eat and eat and eat. You stuff yourself with food, but you can't poop. I know this is disgusting. I know this is a disgusting analogy, but you want to learn more. You want to learn practical information. You want to learn lifesaver information. You want to learn unnecessary information because you, as a human being, you are created to evolve. That's what we do. We are not used to doing the same thing over and over again. As human beings, we have the ability to think for a reason. Because we must evolve, we must learn more, we must teach more, we must communicate, interact more. Otherwise, we lose our purpose. So in this society, when you keep consuming information, there's no way for you to produce, because there's no way for you to express yourself after having this many information. You don't know how to gather all these information and create something totally unique, totally is you. So when you think about it, it is exhausting because we consume more than we produce. What we can do is so limited in daily basis. The addiction of social media is something almost unavoidable because almost every single person right now in this world is addicted to something. This could be alcohol or smoking or social media. And believe me, it is as harmful as they are. So you are basically addicted to information. You're basically addicted to learn more and more from social media. You keep scrolling, you keep seeing a lot of information that you would never really use in the future, or information that is really practical, really useful for you. If you can't benefit from those information, what is the point of learning? What is the point of consuming those information? And the feeling of being not enough for many things in our life is so common that sometimes I think I'm the only person who feels like this. But when I look around, there are so many people who are experiencing same feelings as I am. Everyone, even the masters of science and art and other, industries like engineers, doctors, architects, they all feel not enough. Because when you truly admire an act or something, you want to serve what you can do best. Because you know that act deserves the best from you. And you know you're capable enough to do the best. But when you see others doing the same thing as you do, and maybe seeing them achieving this in their own way, their own unique way, makes you feel inadequate. Because here's the thing, you do not have the same information and same point of view as they do. They have their own way of perceiving this life and perceiving the act of achieving something, and you have your own unique way. I'm going to give you an example from my university years. Back in university, when I was studying English teaching, in my class there used to be some girls, and they have been really successful and really cocky about their English. They were really confident about their teaching skills. I was also very confident, and those girls were my friends. Whenever I heard them use a technique and approach that I've never heard of before, it made me feel inadequate. So instead of learning from them, I blamed myself for not knowing those informations. In a way, you are not better than anyone, and no one is better than you. Because you have your own way of pursuing things, and you never let someone control what you want from something that you really, truly love. Someone would say, oh, do you want to go to that finish line? You should follow this path. But if you feel like the other path is shorter and easier and maybe funnier, maybe it's better for you, do you really want to listen to this person? No. You want to listen to your gut. You want to listen to yourself because you trust yourself. You must trust your gut. So you go follow your own path instead of listening to somebody else's suggestion. So being enough or even being capable of something depends on people. You are capable. You are capable of doing what you love to do. They have their own way of expressing themselves and perceiving what they really love. You have your own way of perceiving what you love. So when you compare yourself with somebody who has entirely different education, entirely different life, it's like comparing an apple with a banana. You are not the same. You're not perceiving the life in the same way. You have your own way of understanding. You have your own way of loving things. You have your own way of expressing yourself. Just enjoy it. Maybe you are not enough. Maybe for that specific thing you're not enough. But that doesn't mean you're not able to improve yourself. That doesn't mean you're not able to evolve in that path. It just means you're ready to learn more. And even when you are a master of something, that doesn't make you enough. There's always someone who knows more than you, and there's always something you forget to teach yourself. And after that, here comes self-criticism. Feeling not enough is very common, and you are not alone when you feel like you're not doing enough in your life. There is a fine line between criticizing yourself and being hard on yourself. You criticize yourself to evolve and improve. But if you are hard on yourself, you are the obstacle because you are too hard on yourself and you never let yourself make mistakes and you never let yourself fail. You never let yourself fall. Even when you fall, you always blame yourself for it, as if it's not something everyone does. You blame yourself for things that you can't achieve. You blame yourself for things that you did wrong. Instead of blaming yourself, if you criticize it, and if you try to learn more about it, if you try to evolve over it, maybe that time, falling, facing obstacles, failing, being wrong, and losing a fight wouldn't bother you a lot. Try to see that fine line between being hard on yourself and criticizing yourself. You are experiencing this life for the first time just like everybody else. You are learning. Doesn't matter how old you are. You might be 70, you might be 8, you might be 20, you might be in your 50s. Doesn't matter. You are still learning. The learning process never stops. The evolving process will never stop in your life. You will always improve, learn, teach, fail, fall, smile, laugh, and just be in pain. It never stops. Some people assume that when they get older, their pain, their concerns, their stress will stop. No, they never leave you alone. You always learn, you always evolve. Even when you're a teacher, your 7-year-old students can teach you a lot. This just shows how we interact and how we are so open evolving that sometimes we can't even realize how we affect each other in a way that is so magnificent, so incredibly beautiful. Of course, after learning how to criticize yourself properly, there is one big issue which I also have been struggling in my entire life. Here's a question. Do you think your financial situation is keeping you from what you always wanted to do in this life? Mine is keeping me from it. When I was in high school, in 10th grade, I have realized that theater was an immaculate way of expressing myself. I loved seeing myself on that scene. I loved acting. I loved creating scenarios. I loved writing. I loved working with others. And I loved seeing people watching me and applauding me. And I told my mom that I want to be a theater kid. I wanted to be an actress. And she told me that if you want to survive in this life, acting could only be your hobby. You will get a real job. I was devastated. And by the time my mom told me this, I used to write a lot of scripts, and I used to think that maybe if I send these scripts to the big city, to the big companies, where they can just evaluate it, maybe like it, maybe make a movie out of it, maybe make a play out of it. And when she told me that I can't be an actress because it's not a real job, it ruined something in me. And that voice had been behind my head, talking to me non-stop, telling me that it's just a hobby. It's just a hobby. It's just a hobby. You need a real job. What is a real job? What is a real job? A real job where you sit down and do the same thing over and over again every single day to earn money that will only help you survive? I couldn't make that money if I was an actress. She made me believe that a real job could only be being a doctor, being a teacher, being an architect, being an engineer, being a lawyer. A real job could only be accepted by the society. which will allow me to earn enough money to survive in this life. I feel really sad there are so many people who are just doing what they should do instead of what they want to do. So these are my thoughts over being creative and understanding this world in terms of producing more for the society. There's 365 days in a year. I am depressed 300 days because I think about these all the time. And I think about the scenarios where I somehow achieve what I want. And I want to ask you, are you doing what you should do or what you want to do?